Hello, and many thanks for joining us this afternoon. My name is Patrick Shafe, and I'm Commercial Director here at Deanta. For those of you who may not know us, Deanta is a publishing solutions and technology provider working with the likes of Taylor and Francis, Bloomsbury, and Rowan and Littlefield, and we've offices in Dublin and Chennai. Some context for today's presentation. Back in 2019, Deanta released our Future of Publishing survey, which showed that publishing was at a crossroads so far as digital transformation was concerned. COVID-19 resulted in most of those well-laid plans being radically revisited. So, at the end of a tumultuous 2020, we decided to go back and ask how things may have changed. Deanta believe meaningful change is a product of three elements: people, processes, and outcomes. Once organizations have powerful technology underpinning their business, then individual teams can make data-based decisions and drive new outcomes for the business as a whole. These outcomes are way beyond the normal goals of cost savings and efficiencies. HFS call this the one office concept, and it's the reason why we split this survey into these three sections. And these business functions came under great scrutiny in 2020. Plans were hastily reevaluated, new outcomes considered, ranging from survival and growth to diversification or consolidation. And publishers had to consider how best to use their dispersed talent and adapt their ways of working to achieve these new goals. I'd invite you to visit our website and download our ebook there, but we wanted to share some of our highlights with you today. In part one, we look at people, and specifically, we wanted to discover whether and how quickly academic publishing is moving towards a one-office concept by changing the skills and the makeup of the talent within their organizations. We'll look at these key findings and more in this first section. The mix of talent required to drive a successful publishing business is evolving. Strong editorial and production teams were once enough, but technological advancements and an innovative vendor market has forced publishers to consider their skills base more carefully. Our survey suggested that senior teams are stagnating, so any growth and additional capacity will have to come from one of two places: one, the vendor market, or two, by publishers working smarter. And it's in this context that working smarter is important, as our survey revealed that less than 4 in 10 publishers have confidence in their own team's tech skills. But, and a trend that we noticed throughout the survey, publishers are looking to make more database decisions and are recruiting data scientists to make this happen. The trend for publishers to outsource editorial and production services began back in the 2000s. At that time, the aim was simply to reduce staff costs by ad hoc use of overseas or onshore labor. In the decades since, outsourcing has become ubiquitous, and an established vendor market now offers a far wider range of services to the sector, all in the race for competitive advantage. Our survey showed that, although publishers most commonly describe themselves as collaborative, it's clear that the more technical aspects of publishing are outsourced the most, while softer creative skills are retained in-house. And with outsourcing well established, it may come as no surprise that the overwhelming majority of publishers reported that the transition to working under COVID-19 conditions was largely trouble-free. Many publishers already introduced levels of flexible working prior to 2020, so an enforced escalation during lockdown was not a huge adjustment. What the survey does not reveal is the impact of COVID-19 on the offshore vendors themselves, as India in particular has been hard hit. Publishers' exposure to this pressure in the supply chain may explain why more than half of the publishers we spoke to are considering a review of how they work. It's been said that publishing is a simple business, made complicated by the people within it. These complications were once limited to the interplay between author, reviewer, and editor. But innovations in technology and new commercial models have created a publishing ecosystem which continues to evolve rapidly. Developments such as open access, transformative agreements, digital libraries and aggregators, data science, enhanced metadata, and XML workflows have all added to the decisions that publishers must make each day. The commercial futures of each and every publisher will be determined according to how they react to these changes. And evidence from our survey suggests that publishers remain a mixed bag when it comes to change management. So, in summarizing our people section, our survey showed that publishers are beginning to embrace a hyper-connected one-office future, whereby highly skilled, small, agile teams use technology to drive better results. These teams may have dependencies on the supply chain, but the best relationships are evolving into partnerships and use technology to bring back office and front office functions together. Once publishers use simplified, digitized workflows, staff can be free of day-to-day operational tasks and will have the space and the data to make better informed, more strategic decisions. Our survey supported the view that publishing is certainly moving towards this new horizon. In this, our processes section, we invited publishers to share their respective organizations' approach to getting the job done. We wanted to get an insight into their working culture and discover how they use and how they view technology. Here's what we found. Whatever plans the academic publishing industry had as it approached 2020, you can be sure that COVID-19 threw most into disarray. Our 2019 Future of Publishing survey suggested that many publishers were planning reviews in preparation for their digital futures, though for some, this was over a 3-year horizon. Our most recent survey showed that many of those ways of working reviews have already happened or are coming in 2021, far sooner than anticipated. Remote working looks set to stay for the foreseeable future, with some publishers opting not to take up new leases on existing offices. So, management, staff, and suppliers alike are having to develop new ways to communicate, edit, track, and publish works, all without established physical and digital networks that an office provides. The wholesale shift to remote working and digitized means of communication has brought into sharp relief organizations' attitudes towards technology. Any remnants of resistance from individuals who may have been uncomfortable working from home have long since passed. As HFS recently stated, we have no choice but to embrace this emerging business world where the perfect alignment of business outcomes and the enabling technologies demand all of our focus and creativity. But our survey showed that our industry continues to rely on traditional ways of working, such as using PDFs and email, rather than embrace technologies which have digitized the workflow. However, this may well be set to change soon, as our survey supported the view that new technologies will play a key part as we face our new normal in 2021. But dig a little deeper, and there's plenty of room for optimism so far as technology's role in publishing is concerned. Data science and publishing are a match made in heaven, and developments in NLP, natural language processing, have allowed machines to analyze and categorize this data, allowing for automation of editorial tasks, whilst AI tools have long supported sales and marketing by creating data for list curation and customer recommendations. Our survey supported the view that data science is set to have an increased importance across the industry. In our 2019 Future of Publishing survey, when looking at business priorities, the usual suspects of speed to market, controlling costs, and improving product quality ruled the roost. In many ways, these familiar goals are hygiene factors, KPIs that all publishers and indeed all businesses should address each year. But we were interested to see if the 2020 experience had challenged these three pillars which have taken the top spots for so long. The answer, as you can see here, is a firm yes and no, with database decision-making taking a surprise second place ahead of cutting costs. Less surprising perhaps was the 90% that agreed modernizing workflows should be the top business priority. To deliver meaningful change, organizations need to be unified and have a shared vision, promoted by the leadership, but with buy-in from staff at every level. Teams need to be ready and able to adapt quickly, whilst communicating their quick wins and mini milestones as they set off on their journey. Managed badly, organizations can face change fatigue, seeing staff lose confidence in the process, or even sabotage as competing interests take hold. Our survey suggested that publishers do have many of the facets which make up a positive working culture, with many already describing themselves as collaborative and agile and able to adapt to change relatively quickly. In summarizing our processes section, it's unsurprising that COVID-19 triggered widespread and immediate reviews as to how publishers manage their workflows. Few organizations had the luxury of waiting out what proved to be a hugely busy year to conduct their ways of working reviews. Although there's ample evidence that these reviews, particularly around the use of technology, will continue into 2021 and beyond. The most striking change is in the form of data science and data-based decision-making, which made an unexpected appearance in publishers' top-ranked business priorities. In this, our final section, having looked at people and processes, we wanted to understand how business outcomes had changed as we head into our collective new normal. Here's what we found. In many ways, 2020 was a transformative year for the publishing industry. Not only did the COVID-19 crisis reinforce the need for high quality, quick to market academic publications, but publications across all scientific journals saw a sharp rise in submissions. Overall, 2020's disruptions and the challenges with supply chain workflows failed to rock the confidence of the academic publishing industry, with most publishers predicting a buoyant 2021 and rising revenues. But revenues tell only one side of the story, of course, as profit margins for the industry have historically remained high, higher even than Apple and Google at over 25% for the top 5 players. Plan S took effect in January of this year, just as our survey was launched. Though open access looks set to stay, the debate as to which commercial model publishers should adopt remains heated. In 2019, the Society Publishers Accelerating Open Access and Plan S listed 27 possible OA publishing models. In this context, perhaps not surprising to learn that publishers gave a mixed response when asked to describe their organization's response to OA. Deanta will be keeping a close eye on the OA landscape as this picture evolves. Innovation in the publishing industry has often originated within the supply chain. Digitization of publishing has created opportunities for new enterprises to either siphon off some traditional publishing functions or, in some cases, to build new markets entirely. An example of the former might be almost complete delegation of production to the Indian market with offshore typesetting, copy editing, proofreading, and project management now commonplace. An example of the latter might include outsourcing of XML conversion, the rise of peer review platforms such as ScholarOne, or sales and distribution services from companies such as Ingram's. As these innovative markets bite off chunks of the publishing process, we ask publishers to rank what their own future core functions should be. The result was a firm focus on the commissioning and management of new content. Production management, which seems permanently consigned to the offshore market, took the lowest aggregate score, with only 2% selecting this as a primary function for publishers. So in summarizing our outcomes section, where COVID-19 crippled some industries, the academic publishing industry went into overdrive and came into sharp focus as high quality, fast produced content was in more demand than ever. Attitudes towards open access continue to evolve as the industry explores multiple ways to meet market needs whilst plugging any loss of revenue associated with this initiative. By contrast, what does remain settled is the role publishers see themselves fulfilling, with commissioning new content topping our poll. So, when the tide suddenly went out last year, how did publishers fare? COVID-19 brought many challenges to publishing, but existing technologies and the extent to which production is outsourced made management of this far less painful than may have been anticipated. Nevertheless, most publishers have recently reviewed or are planning to review their ways of working as they look to find more agile working methods. Commercial disruption from open access and COVID-hit university libraries is a concern, but growth and margins employed by the industry may offer a safety net to lessen the immediate impact of any disruption. What's undeniable is that academic publishers as a whole are reacting to the lessons of 2020. And the great rallying cry is for publishers to modernize their workflows as a priority. Meaningful change may well be on the horizon, and though there appears to be some stagnation in senior teams, new recruits are arriving with technology and data science skills in their armory. This change, when it comes, may still be focused on the hygiene objectives of improving speed to market and reduce costs, but publishers are increasingly embracing the one office concept, using technology to drive data decision making and evolving operational tasks and hard skills to a mature and innovative vendor market. So just to conclude, thank you again for your time. We hope you found this interesting presentation. I would encourage you to visit our website and download the ebook in full But thank you again for your time this afternoon.